Who are you all? Hello. It is Tease. Good day. Good afternoon, good evening. I hope all are well. I hope all are safe. So I'm up maybe a little bit before after 2 a.m. after the meridian. And so I guess I felt compelled to say this. Probably wasting my breath saying this because some people just don't get it. But if you haven't noticed, you are living in a trap. I guess you can call it the simulation. You can call it the system. You can call it fantasy world, whatever it is, but basically it is a trap. Because you get people that's always, oh, but I do this, I pay taxes, I'm working 12 jobs and can't make ends meet. And well, the latest story was a lady she's looking at 10 years now for taking her food stamps to buy food and to sell the food to make a profit. But what she and the world's not understanding, that is a felony, and they'll tell you this plain as day. Since food stamps came out, this is for you to get food. Don't sell your food stamps and don't sell the food, basically. They'll tell you before they even give you the food stamps, do not sell these food stamps because it is considered fraud. Now, I know to you it might make sense, like, well, damn, if I got $500 worth of food stamps, why not sell them for $300-$400? Sounds great, but that is a felony. That's called a trap. It's like it seems like the opportunity is there, and the second you take it, even with the PPP loan, the money was there if they know you need it, but the second you take it, that's a felony. So it's like, for a lot of people that just don't get it, that they keep falling for the traps. Even with the ATM trap. Oh, hey, you can throw an empty envelope in the ATM and walk away with 10, 20,000, hell, even $1 million, depending on the ATM or the bank. And people fall for it, and now they're crying because they're waiting to get shipped off to prison. And I'm thinking, it's like we're falling for this trap because we're living it. At birth, you were sold off at birth. When your parents signed the birth certificate and your social security, that means you are now property of the United States, or probably not even the United States, because it's rumored that other countries have their hands in your birth certificate and your social security. So basically you're owned by some entity, here, there, or anywhere. So that means you don't own anything. They control what you eat, they control what you live, they control the water, and then they'll tell you when you can do this and that. They'll tell you when to starve, and if you don't believe me, just look around what's going on right now. Most people got the same testimony. We're not working. We don't have food stamps. They just cut this. Just got kicked out of school, or just told me that our children, you gotta send them this, or you gotta do this. That's because they own you. And if you don't believe me, then try rebelling. A lot of people won't rebel because, that's just the way it is, or by law we gotta. Okay, or you can rebel, but a lot of people won't do it because they got you by the growing. So that's basically what it is. We're keeping this entity alive because all we know is basically being owned. The government tells you when to do this. They tell you when to work. They tell you when to sleep. They tell you, hell, at this point, they tell you when to go too, because I want to say from this point forward, or until they say otherwise, it ain't nothing but toe tags on the menu at this point, because no one's getting salvation. Everyone has the same testimony. Oh, we're this and that. But yeah, I just thought I'd say something about the lady with the food stamps, and I'm thinking, one guy was pretty much saying, he said, well, that's not unusual. People usually sell their food stamps or buy food on food stamps, but it's like, what you're not understanding is it's deemed a felony. Now, I understand everybody might do it because it makes sense. Okay, if I have $500 worth of food stamps, why not get $200-$300 for it, or a few dollars for a few food stamps? Sounds like a good deal, but at the end of the day, it is a felony. But yeah, and then she couldn't understand, how am I going to get 10 years? What? I'm just trying to survive, or I'm just trying to be smart. The guy that was making the video, he's like, oh, well, they hate when people use their brains. And if you use your brains, you would literally know how to work around the system. There's no way in the world that you would need them to survive and then try to get fancy. There is no getting fancy with the system unless you literally get too big for your britches to where you can literally disappear off of the radar. Because haven't you noticed that celebrities try to do it all the time? They try to get too big for their britches, and then they end up somewhere in the dirt somewhere. So it's like, it's one of those things you can't get high off your own supply and think that you're going to get by. It's like one of those. I'm strung out on my own supply, and I think that's okay. That's the same way with food stamps or any government assistance. I'm leveling up. If you level up on government assistance, that's probably going to come with consequences, because that's part of the trap. Your own food stamps to stay down. You're in Section 8 to stay down. It's really not made to elevate you. Even though, like, for me, I would think, like, okay, this would be a growing experience, but I've learned that you can't grow on these programs. I've learned it because there's a cap. Let's just say, like, for instance, you're in a program to get off drugs, and it's like everybody's in this program's on drugs, and ain't nobody getting well. And it ain't because they don't want to get well. It's not, the program is not set up to get you well. It's to either keep you the same or to make it worse. That's the whole point of these government programs. Because if this is to elevate you, then A, there would already be a limit, and then B, it'll be something where it's like, okay, you're going to do this for so long, so then therefore you should be at this level by this time. Let's say, for instance, okay, it'll take you a week to save $5. So within a week, you should have $5. After that, we'll keep building. But that's not what it is. In a week, you should be in debt. That's how it works on these programs. No one has reached salvation. That's why these people are crying and dying when they take it away, because nobody's growing on these things. They needed to survive, or they needed just enough to grab you by the growings. And once they grabbed you by the growings, they own you. And that's how that works. And then the next day I'm going to be complaining about a job. Oh, they took this, they took that. Okay, that's called a trap. That's why I say do not fall for the trap. And the healthy alternative will be, if you know you can't live without this stuff, start to find the alternative. What is your alternative to the food, clothes, water, and shelter? Because obviously these programs are not stable enough. You obviously can't count on food stamps based off the testimonies, and you obviously can't count on the government housing assistance, even the healthcare, based off testimonies. That's how you know it's a trap, because it really just depends on who, what, where, when, and why. And then that'll depend on your case and your assistance. What kind of assistance are you getting? And then what are these assistants used for? Is this really to help you, or is this to keep you in a predicament? Now, I can say, just looking at these California government assistance, that's to keep everybody in a predicament, because there's no way in the world that it should be okay that everybody, and when I say everybody, it's not literally everybody, but it's so many people to where when you're looking around, you have to say everybody, even though it's not. But everybody's strung out on drugs, and everybody's down bad, living with their own doo-doo, and that's okay. That's why anytime I walk around, I'll take pictures of it and I record it, and I'm like, okay. And then when I go to make the brochures, and I make sure I would go send this right to the city and the state. Do not forget to leave the shit and the bodies out of those damn brochures. When you tell people to come here, put this in there first, because this is what they're going to see. They're going to see the doo-doo. They're going to see the tents. They're going to see the bodies everywhere. Okay? And the drugs. Everybody's slumped over, and I'm looking around like, what the hell? And my eyes have been big as baseballs and tennis balls since a few years ago, and I'm looking like, what? Really? This is normal? And that's what it is. That's how you know you're in a trap. If you do not believe you're in a trap, come. And I do not want to just blame this on LA or downtown, because they said it's really bad in other places too. Like as far as seeing people that are slumped over or strung out. But when you call yourself going to these big cities, or you call yourself getting out and seeing the world, it's like some of the stuff that you see is like, is this shit okay? And yeah, certain places it is okay to be like, here, this is normal. If you see me strung out on the side of the road living with my own doo-doo, that's normal. Because guess what? I can promise you, I'm not going to be the only one doing it. I'm not going to be the only one flipped over like a paper clip in the middle of the street for hours and days on end. It's not going to be the only one. When I say there's plethora and plethoras, you go to a sidewalk, you spin yourself around in a circle and then land there. It's going to be a sidewalk full of tent and people sleeping. I went to a park. It was one of those parks. What was it? The same park that they use for the news. I can't even think of the damn park. But basically, they'll use it for the news. They'll point to, check out the pond and the buildings and all that. And there's a reason why they show it from afar. Oh, you can see the city. They'll make it seem like, I just want you to see the whole city. No, because if they zoom in, you're going to see all of those bodies laying out all over that park where they're showing you, oh, this is the heart of the city. But just like clockwork, they leave out the doo-doo, the bodies, the needles, the tents. They leave all the good stuff out. Ooh, you know what? I really like the way the city looked on that news channel, or I really like the way the city looked on this brochure. Let's go to LA. Let's go to New York. Let's go to, one of these major cities where everybody's saying you got to go there. It's the greatest place in the world. And you go there. Second you land, you will be met with doo-doo, tents, drugs, body, and etc. Okay? And that is by design, because again, if it's not tolerated or tolerable, the shit wouldn't be so prevalent. Okay? You got people that stepped over, city officials that step over. There's a reason why the corporate members, they're in the highest buildings, and there's a reason why they, yeah, you won't see them stepping on doodle, because they have certain people where they want them, and that's in a predicament. So again, if you are a part of this trap, just don't be surprised once you realize this is a trap, and there is a way out of it, but you have to do it outside of the system. You can't be a part of a system that's working against you and think things are going to go smoothly. Just like now, I can't just, I'm going to wake up and get a job. I'm going to wake up and say, no violence, no drugs, no doo-doo. And it sounds great, but guess what? Where I'm at, I'm going to get the total opposite. I want no violence, and if I want that, I'm going to have to create my own reality, and probably on a totally different planet, okay? Because I can't do that right here in this predicament. As long as I'm a part of the system, as long as I need Uncle Sam for food, clothes, water, and a job, it's one of those things where you're going to do what they tell you to do. And the next step is to get that doggone, the digital ID, or the chip. I guess it's the same thing, digital ID, or some kind of technology as far as doing business in the new system. Yeah, but I thought I'd put a message out there, because it seems like I'm hearing more and more complaints about what people are losing, or the stuff that you can get life over. Just like for this lady, said she's getting 10 years. They said, some people get less time for that for murder. Okay, well, murder might sound a little bit more tolerable than selling food stamps. Just like how it's a crime to grow your own food, it'll be a crime to become independent versus become a criminal. I'm thinking it'd be more acceptable to be a criminal than to come outside of the system. And like I said, you don't necessarily have to stay a part of the system, but you do have to break away from it, and then that means you have to let the old world go. You can't say, I'm not a part of the system, but I need food stamps. It don't work like that, because that means you have to give them your system name in order to get on these system food stamps. So you have to completely remove yourself from the system in order to be absolved of being grabbed by the loins. Because right now, it's pretty much their way or the highway. You have to eat their poisonous food, their tainted water, and do things their way. Otherwise, you're going to be in a predicament any damn way. And again, that's why I say you have to have the alternative, because you call yourself leaving the system, or you don't want to serve 10 years for selling food or saving food stamps to make ends meet, then it's like, sounds like you would need to work a little bit harder to get out of the system. And I know it sounds a lot easier said than done, because it's like, well, damn, I grew up in the system. I was been sold out since birth. And it might sound a lot easier to just say, just walk away from it. Sounds a whole lot easier said than done. But like I said, it's a process, and you have to put in the work to get away from the system, because literally, if they've been owning you your whole life, it's not going to be that easy to just walk away or to say no to the food stamps. But I would recommend it, just because it's like, if that's your livelihood, or if that's all it takes for them to put you in a predicament and to cut those assistance, then that's why I say or at least prepare yourself to not. And I understand people need this stuff, but again, you need to prepare yourself and wean yourself off of it, because things happen. Yes, you need housing and stuff, but if a storm comes and wipes it away, then what? That's why I say create healthy alternatives. You need to have a plan B, C, D. And again, it sounds easier said than done, but again, when things happen where you lose it all, then what? Because just complaining and crying and whining, it's like, I don't think that's a healthy resolution. Because that comes with issues. Now that comes with issues, chaos, and drama. Now that comes with crime, Now I have to put myself in more trouble to make ends meet. It's just really crazy how it works. But I would say start finding the alternatives, and then also, sometimes you have to do without too. And a lot of people think, but I need this, and that. And really, to tell you the truth, you really don't need all the stuff that we think that we need. I'm thinking we're just so used to being materialistic. We feel like we gotta have this, you gotta have that, you gotta have a vehicle, you gotta have, and all that stuff is nice to have, but you don't have to have a lot of this stuff to survive. Really, all you need is food, clothes, water, and shelter to survive. And then that's it. You don't have to have the cell phone. You don't have to have Wi-Fi. You don't even have to have a vehicle. I mean, it sounds nice to have, but there's alternatives to that vehicle. Instead of, not having the vehicle, perhaps you can take public transportation, or you can do a car ride or a carpooling, stuff like that. There are healthy alternatives, but I think a lot of times we think it got to be a certain way. If I'm living in a house, it has to be a mansion. I can't live with someone else. I can't live in an apartment. I'm supposed to be in a mansion. And I'm thinking, there's so much wrong with that, because if you can't maintain the mansion, if you can't afford the mansion, or if you can't ABC when it has anything to do with, so if you can't ABC